The fifth type of pronoun we will discuss is reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and the object of the action are the same. What does this mean? We will see some examples. I heard myself. She saw herself in the mirror. We enjoyed ourselves very much. In these examples, I is the same as myself. That is, they have the same referent. She has the same referent as herself in the second example. And in the third example, we and ourselves have the same referent. And as they have the same referent, they share the same features. So we cannot have, for instance, an example like, I hurt herself. This sentence is ungrammatical because personal subjective pronoun I has the features first person singular, whereas the reflexive pronoun herself has features about third person singular number. So there is a clash in features between personal subjective pronoun I and the reflexive pronoun herself. And as a result, the sentence is ungrammatical. In the following slide, we will discuss indefinite pronouns. As we have already anticipated, the sixth group of pronouns we will discuss is indefinite pronouns. These are used when the person or thing referred to is not defined, and they are generally formed with every, some, any, or no, plus one of the following elements: body, one, thing, or where. So, for instance, if we combine every plus body, we get the indefinite pronoun everybody. And if we combine some plus thing, we get the indefinite pronoun something. These pronouns are called indefinite because they do not have a definite referent in the discourse or in the world. So, for example, in somebody is knocking at the door, we do not know who is knocking at the door. That is, the referent is not defined. The same occurs in she likes nobody. Is there anything in the fridge? And in everything was understood. Nobody, anything, and everything are indefinite pronouns because they do not have a defined or a definite referent in the world. Now please, stay there. There are two types of pronouns left. So the seventh type is relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are used to introduce a relative clause. Within the embedded clause, they replace the MP that is post-modified by the relative clause. This sounds difficult, so let's see it in some examples. For instance, in 1, the man who came is his brother. The relative clause is who came. In 2, I live in a city where people are not afraid of leaving their doors unlocked. The relative clause is where people are not afraid of leaving their doors unlocked. And finally, in 3, the book which I left on the table has disappeared. The relative clause here is which I left on the table. As you can see, the relative pronouns who, where, and which introduce each of the relative clauses. And each of them refers to the phrase this clause modifies. So who refers to man, where refers to city, and which refers to book. Finally, we will analyze expletive pronouns. As we already know, they do not refer to anything. That is, they do not have a referent. They only occupy the subject position. This is because in English the subject position must be occupied. In English we have two types of expletive pronouns. One is it and the other one is there. The first one, it, is used to make a statement about the weather or time, and it has no meaning. For instance, it's raining, it's Monday, or it's 2 o'clock. In these examples, the subject position is occupied by expletive it, and it has no meaning. On the other hand, there is used to show that someone or something exists. So, for example, we have there's someone at the door, there are 3 books on this shelf. Here, in these two examples, there occupies the subject position. Now we have already covered all the different types of pronouns. Next, we will see how to describe pronouns in a given context.
Now that we have explored all pronoun types, we will carefully analyze the way they have to be described. Let's analyze the steps given. First, as you already know, the word category needs to be stated. Second, the type of pronoun it is, with its corresponding features. At this point, it is important to state the pronoun specific referent. That is, what the be previously mentioned it refers to. Finally, its distributional criteria has to be described. This is the position the pronoun occupies in the given sentence or phrase. This slide and the two that follow aim at showing the way in which specific pronouns are described. So, bear in mind the steps and all the relevant information included in each description. Let's start with the first sentence, where the pronoun it is presented. Remember that firstly, the type of word and type of pronoun it is has to be included. Next, its features. Thirdly, its antecedent, that is, the DP in the discourse it refers to. And finally, its distributional criteria, that is, the position the pronoun occupies in this particular sentence. With respect to the type of pronoun it is, in this case, it is a personal subjective pronoun. It has grammatical information about third person and singular number. It has an antecedent in the discourse. In this case, it refers to the DP my drawing, with which it shares features. That is, the DP my drawing also has third person singular number features. With respect to its distributional criteria, it is the head of the DP it, which is the subject of the sentence. It was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. And it agrees in person and number with the verb was. Let's describe the second sentence. The second sentence reads as follows. I showed my masterpiece to the grown-ups and asked them whether the drawing frightened them. Remember that firstly we have to include the type of word and type of pronoun it is. In this case, the word them is a personal objective pronoun. With respect to its features, it has grammatical information about third person and plural number. Its antecedent in the discourse is the DP, the grown-ups. Remember that the antecedent and the pronoun you describe have to share features. So, in this case, the DP, the grown-ups, also has information about third person and plural number. With respect to distributional criteria, In this context, them is the head of the DP them, which is one of the complements of the ditransitive verb ask. To conclude, let's summarize the main information about pronouns. Pronouns are functional categories. As opposed to determiners or quantifiers, they do not select nouns or NPs as complement. So, for instance, if we take a sentence like, I saw him brother yesterday, we can see that the reason why this sentence is ungrammatical is because him is a personal objective pronoun and pronouns do not select NPs as complement. So in this case, it is impossible for him to select the NP brother as complement. This is because pronouns replace determiner phrases, so they are also contained in the DPs. So let's take, I saw your brother yesterday. In here, as we can see, the DP, your brother, is replaced by the personal objective pronoun him. How can we see this? This is so because pronouns have an antecedent in the discourse, and in this case, him refers to your brother. And as we can also see, they have person and number features that are the same their referent DP has. So in this context, the DP your brother has third person singular masculine features, and him matches those features. And that's it.